Hey guys, it's Cloudy. How are you all? Today I'm going to be talking about a K-drama that I've been watching recently. I have been really behind on recent K-dramas. On one hand, because I've had school, I got into an accident, and so I'm kind of healing from some fractures. On the other hand, I've just been really busy watching a lot of anime stuff. And also, my boyfriend and I are trying to watch all the Simpsons from season 1 to the present day. So we've also just been marathoning a lot of other things, plus movie nights and things like that. But recently, with the K-dramas that are almost finishing, it made me think about certain things in life as I was exploring the story. So mainly today we're going to be talking about Love Next Door, or 엄마 친구 아들, which is my mom's friend's son. I talked about this series very recently when it first dropped a couple weeks ago. 2 episodes have been releasing every week, and it basically follows 2 characters who have been friends since they were kids, and they've basically grown up together. They've known each other for 30 years, and now that they're 30 something, they're both going through some quarter life crises, and things are shifting for them as friends into lovers, and also shifting for them professionally and in terms of everything that's going on in life. So I wanted to talk about some life lessons that I've been meditating on when watching this K-drama. Our female main character has been a go-getter, 100% working her butt off since she was in school, going the straight and narrow path to get all of her schooling qualifications, and then she got hired at a really big company in the States. Our male main character used to be a almost Olympian swimmer who changed his dream into an architect after an incident befell him in high school. And as you guys know, they've been friends, so they've been supporting each other through their lives. As adults, however, when our female main character was living in the States, she was kind of shut off from a lot of her family support and also her friend support. She went through cancer, she went through depression on her own. She was set to get married, but then her engagement broke off and she flew back to Korea. So she's been going through a lot of stuff. The first thing that I wanted to talk about in this series is just this trend of seeing mental health talked about a lot in recent K-dramas. Obviously, if the K-drama is about action, suspense, or crime, it's a thriller, they're not gonna be talking about that because it's very plot focused. But for slice of life, high school, or just daily life romance focused series, we have been seeing a lot more characters in their 20s and 30s explore their own journey of wellness and coping with the pressures of society, dealing with their savings, dealing with unforeseen accidents, figuring out when is the right time to get married. And I think it's a great thing because a lot of people are struggling with this, and I feel if shows don't shed spotlight on that, people will just keep all their issues inside. When we're watching K-dramas, if we're able to see different issues come to light, it also sheds a lot of insight on what we're going through. And what we can learn from the characters in this show is that we should just never deal with these things alone. And then if you're able to support your friends throughout everything, it just uplifts people's lives a lot more. So that was the first thing that I was thinking about and then journaling about. The second thing is that the show actually delves into a lot between the mother-daughter relationship of the main character and her family, and just the idea that parents always do the best with what they have. So our female main character, Pae Sung-yu, her family is more working class. They are scrimping to get by, and they're just not totally well off, but they have a really great family environment. Versus for Seung-hyo and his family, everyone has their own life. They're very career driven, but they never really sit down to have dinner together. And we get to see these different polarizing kind of families. Both sets of parents are trying to do their best and just connect with their kids, and both settings are still filled with a lot of love, and I really enjoyed that part of the show. Another great thing that the show does is that they delve into the actual relationship of the main character's parents. Sung-ryu's parents are always bickering, but there's still a lot of love there, versus Seung-hyo's parents are very cold to each other. And once they kind of break through this barrier of awkwardness, they're able to express themselves a lot more clearer. And as someone who grew up with Asian parents, I feel there's always this awkward situation where your parents really care about each other. They're just not great at expressing it because they're Asian and conservative, and I could definitely relate a lot to that when I was watching the show. The third thing that I want to talk about is something that kind of applies a bit more in Korean communities, compared to like American communities, which is the idea that having neighbors that care about you is like truly a blessing. So this Korean drama, Love Next Door, takes place in its specific neighborhood. All the characters, the aunties, the families, the friends, they all kind of grew up in the same neighborhood, and you can kind of see them develop this sense of like community and like caring for each other. Even though you have your own parents, the aunties in the neighborhood, they also had a hand in raising you. When I was living in Korea, in a more like countryside area, I could definitely feel that people cared a lot more for their neighbors versus when I moved to like big cities or when I'm living in the States, people just kind of keep to themselves. Dramas are a great way to kind of understand Korean culture. In a previous video, I talked about this Korean concept of jong, which is like affection for other people, and I think sometimes Korean dramas are really good at portraying that, how like people care about each other just because they are from the same community, they share the same sort of values. And I feel like a lot of times in the modern age, we're sort of like losing that sense of community with people. So that's another aspect that I really liked in the show. Finally, I wanted to touch upon some things related to our two main characters, which is this issue of like, if you're childhood friends forever, are you going to end up being lovers? There's this like eternal question of, can guys and girls just be platonic friends? Obviously, because it's a K-drama, there has to be romance involved. So they took the childhood friendship and then they slowly developed it into like a more mature relationship. And I think one of the most memorable parts of the show was when Seung-hyo says to Sung-woo, I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I didn't love you in some way or another. And they just have this like really deep bond going through a lot of different like tough moments and also happy moments throughout their lives. You know, I think it's true. Even if you're friends with someone and you've been friends with them forever, I don't think you can fully cut out the chance that you guys might become something more. It's like a fine line to walk. I think the show does a great way of like showing these moments of push and pull where the friendship is sort of pushing the boundaries, but they're also like reserved because they're worried that when things change too much, what if it like wrecks their friendship? But you know, some of the greatest relationships out there are like based off of amazing friendships. And you should be able to kind of be best friends with your partner because you do everything with them too. So I think they explored a lot of emotional facets related to this transition for them, and I really love that. Okay, finally, the thing I want to talk about is it's never too late to find your dream. Throughout your life, your dream is going to change a lot, and we can really see how difficult it is for Sung-woo because she has started from like the straight and narrow. She just got the high-paying job. She went to a big company, but she didn't find happiness. Like, what am I supposed to do when I do everything correctly, but in the end, it doesn't work out for me? I have to like reset in my 30s. And for like a lot of people, 30s feels like old because you think you're gonna do all your like discovery and transformation in your 20s, but actually most of us don't figure out exactly what we want to do and find stability until our like 30s, mid 30s, or late 30s. And so the show does a really great way of like showcasing people who have to shift their dreams because, you know, life happens. It's always hard to figure out what you actually love to do when you spent your life doing things that you had to do or things that people told you you had to do. So that also like made me think a lot about my life, my dreams, my career aspirations. And you know, people always ask me, why do you like to watch K-dramas that are like really slow paced, not much happens? It kind of just talks about people in their working life. What I tell them is, on one hand, like it is more boring because, you know, it's kind of like the same stuff that we experience. But because it is very similar along that frequency, we're able to like relate a lot to like other people's stories, and in the way that they find resolution in their lives, we can also feel cathartic release and find a sense of like hope that we're both going through the same things and things are going to be okay. Like, things in the modern day recently have been just like really depressing. If you read the news every day, it's very depressing. So I feel like watching certain K-dramas where things are tied together nicely at the end, it gives you a lot of motivation that things are going to work out. And for someone who's like anxiety driven, I definitely need that kind of assurance in my life. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit different from what I usually do. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more from me, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!